Good evening, and thank you all for being here. We are going to go ahead and begin open session for our Franklin-McKinley School District Board meeting. I'm really excited to see our guests today with color guard. We will start with item 3, general matters. Item 3.01, the land acknowledgement statement, which I will read now. We acknowledge that the Franklin-McKinley School District and our schools are located in the Muwekma Ohlone Nation, the sovereign nation and original people of the skies, land, and waters where we learn and work. The Muwekma Ohlone people are the stewards of these lands and of the teaching and learning that comes from and responds to the needs of the land and the people who share it. May our daily lives and work, learning, teaching, and community engagement support the evolving vision of the Muwekma Ohlone for their community and these lands. We will now go to item 3.02, the flag salute. I know we have our color guard from Ramblewood here as well. Thank you for joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand and remove your hats for the presentation of the colors? Color guard, advance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prepare to post the colors. Post the colors. Color guard dismissed. Thank you. Please be seated. Hello, my name is Austin Palermo. I am from Ramblewood and I am a 6th grader. My parents brought me here today.
Hello, my name is Alexa Moncada. I'm a 6th grader and I come from Ramblewood.
Hello, my name is Dasha Ablakova. I'm a 6th grader. I come from Ramblewood Elementary. My mom brought me here today.
Hello, my name is Enzo Waite. I'm from Ramblewood Elementary. I'm in 6th grade and my dad brought me here.
Hello, my name is Nam Pham. I'm a 6th grader at Ramblewood and my parents brought me here.
We get one more round of applause for our Ramblewood color guard.
Just so you guys know, you guys are the first color guard since we've been able to come back in person. So thank you for being here today.
We hope this school year is going well for you all. So we do have the rest of our agenda, so you're welcome to join us. But if you prefer to enjoy your evening elsewhere, you're welcome to excuse yourself as well. Thank you again. We will now go to item 3.03, approve, disapprove additions to the agenda. Board members? Hearing none, we will go to item 3.04, approve, disapprove order of the agenda. Hearing none, we will go to item 3.05, report of action taken in closed session. Superintendent Cruz?
Yes, thank you. The board unanimously approved the closed session minutes of August 10th, 2021. The board also unanimously approved the appointment of Dario Lomeli as the custodial supervisor. There are no other actions to report.
Thank you, Superintendent Cruz. We will now go to item 4, oral communications, beginning with 4.01. Members of the public may address the board on any issue within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board or agenda items. Members of the public may also address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. No action can be taken on any agenda items at this time. Questions may be referred to the administration or put on a future agenda. Do we have any individuals wishing to make public comment at this time?
We do. We have Scott Shillemson that would like to make some remarks.
Hello, trustees. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. I want to say thank you to everyone from the board down to administrators, teachers, paras, principals, everyone who helped launch this school year in a very challenging time after what seems like years of preparation and getting ready for coming back to in-person education. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. This is a very uncomfortable, if not downright scary time to have our schools open. As you know, there has been significant amounts of positive COVID in our schools already. And so I appreciate that everyone is taking the steps necessary to keep our students, our teachers, and everyone in our community safe. I do hope that there can be more testing made available for both students and employees, because I think we really need to do everything we can do to keep folks safe. As we've seen from the number of positive cases, this is no longer just a concept or something academic. There is transmission out there in the community, and we certainly want to make sure that that transmission is not occurring at our schools, but it is challenging given that we have many bodies in a room. And of course, many of those younger bodies especially are unvaccinated. So I think the district has done a lot, but I hope that more can be done, especially around more testing, and also making sure that whenever there is a challenging decision around when to quarantine, that the district always makes that choice, which is the safest. Because I think in the end, that's going to be the most important thing, is to make sure that we are keeping everyone safe in our district right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Do we have any other speakers for public comments? We will now go to item 5, consent items under 25,000. Members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with Board Bylaws 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. Board members, are there any items from consent that you'd like to pull? Hearing none, I will accept a motion.
Move to approve consent items 5.01 to 5.04.
Second.
Items 5.01 through 5.04 have been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. We will now go to item 6, consent items over 25,000. Again, members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. Board members, are there any items you'd like to pull? Do we have any public comments on this item? Accept the motion if we're ready.
Move to approve.
Second.
Items 6.01 through 6.06 have been moved and seconded for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. We will go to item 7, construction items. Again, members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items in accordance with board bylaw 9323. Individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. We just have the one consent item there. Is there anyone who would like to pull that item? Otherwise, no public comments, so I will accept a motion when we're ready.
Move to approve item 7.01.
Second.
Item 7.01 has been moved and seconded for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. We will go to item 8, action items, beginning with item 8.01, the personnel report.
Madam President, I move that the personnel report be approved as submitted and that A, the employment of the following employees be approved. Ian Burton, paraeducator at Rome, effective 8/23/21. Christine Martinez, paraeducator at Shirakawa, effective 8/17/21. Melody Owens, program specialist, effective 8/25/21. Eva Martinez Garcia, social worker at McKinley, effective 8/23/21. Maximilian Fargo, teacher at Silvendale, effective 8/25/21. And B, the resignation for the following employees be approved. Cynthia Ayala, bus driver, effective 9/3/21.
Second.
Right, the personnel report and addendum has been moved and seconded for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Vice President Tree. We will now go to item 8.02, the August 10th, 2021 board meeting minutes. Board members, hopefully you've gotten a chance to review those minutes. And I will accept a motion when you are ready.
Madam President, I move to approve the board meeting minutes of August 10th, 2021.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve the August 10th board meeting minutes and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously. We will now go to item 8.03, the reporting on delegating authority to take the necessary action to protect students and staff from the spread of coronavirus. Superintendent Cruz.
Yes, thank you. I want to start off by echoing the comments that we just heard from Scott Schillenson. You know, the entire staff, Franklin-McKinley staff, have been working tirelessly to welcome our students back this past week. And, you know, after almost 18 months of being at home, we opened our doors and our students started school for most of them on Monday. Obviously, CCA had a little bit of a head start on us, the rest of us, but it was not an easy feat to reopen our doors. And, you know, a lot of credit goes to the entire Franklin-McKinley community and staff and the board and everybody for the support that we've been able to receive from everybody and the cooperation to open our doors as safe as we can possibly do so. You know, there's never 100%, right, fail-safe proof procedures, but we do believe that we have a number of layers of protection to protect our students that are the most vulnerable because many of them don't have access to the vaccine. And certainly our staff as well, because we are seeing even those that are fully vaccinated can become positive. One of those layers, and if you've seen the staff bulletin, I've included a number of different things that we're doing as safety measures. One of them was on this last bulletin that Jason and his team put together that explained the level of ventilation and the process that we're going through to improve ventilation in the classrooms, from the fans running before school starts, after, and then sort of that process during the day, the filters, MERV 13 filters. So as one layer of protection. The other one, obviously, making sure that students and staff are wearing their masks, making sure that there's availability of masks for students and in the case that they lose theirs or there's breaks, which is happening often with students. The other one is ensuring that there's hand sanitizer in all the classrooms to increase in hand washing when possible. The other one is the different measures that we're putting in place. You've also seen, hopefully in the staff bulletin, the different measures that we have announced, from not having in-person back to school night. We're keeping that virtual. No field trips for now. We'll evaluate that at a later time in terms of how safe it is for students to go out on field trips. Virtual staff meetings. So you can see the various areas that we have put measures in place. And all of those are to protect our students and our staff. And in some cases, those things are being evaluated, reevaluated weekly, daily. As we know, this pandemic changes and the conditions change. And so we need to make sure that we are flexible enough to shift if we need to, based on the recommendations from public health. We're starting to get into the sports season. And so we're imposing no spectators during practice or games, at least for now, until we get public health has announced that they may be issuing further guidance in regards to sports, drama, and band shortly. So we'll wait to see how that changes our position in terms of that. So we are following Jason, who is our COVID point person here, goes through the decision-making tree, and that's been also shared with the staff on the staff bulletin, if you've seen that. And we follow that tree to make a decision about who needs to be quarantined, right? And there's a lot of different factors that go into it, if you've seen it, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, whether you were a close contact or you were not a close contact, whether you whether we can guarantee that the mask was used 100% of the time while that person had contact with a positive case. So there's a lot of different factors, and we go through that and adhere to the recommendations from public health in regards to that. So yes, we are having to quarantine full classes, and we have this past week. We have had to quarantine individual students, individual staff members. We communicate that with the campus. So Jason works with the principal in sending a communication to staff, the entire staff, about a positive case, whether it's a student or a staff member. And then we communicate with the families of the affected classes. So we're trying to be as transparent as we can in regards to notifying parents and then notifying staff, while still protecting the HIPAA rights of our students and our staff. So I will continue to provide a summary report at the end of the month and communicating that district-wide, as I have in the past as well. It is challenging. There's a lot of time that Jason, Annette, and other members of our team spend daily in responding to this. And so we know how important this is in terms of the health and safety of our staff, our students, and the whole community. So know that we will always follow the public health guidelines, and when it's that gray area, we will side on the side of caution. We will be cautious and not do what we need to do not to expose anybody unnecessarily. So while still protecting the ability of those students to be in person whenever the public health guidelines allow for that. And so I will take any questions from the board at this point of anything that you may need further clarification in terms of the level of of protection that we have in place for our students and our staff.
Board members, Board Member Rodriguez?
Yeah, one, if, mine's a two-part question. So are teachers given all the resources they need to protect everyone in the classroom regarding the safety of the pandemic? And then also, if they do have a concern, how do they submit that concern, and who do they submit it to? The district office, the principal, how does it go? I have heard a few, but I have received a few as a board member, but I know that's not my role as a board member to get involved in those types of operational things.
Right. No, I appreciate that. If you do receive some concerns, whatever they may be, please do forward them to me, and I will ensure that the proper response is provided. We always ask staff to bring those concerns to their principals. That's sort of the flow of information that normally takes place. If they don't feel comfortable with bringing that to the principal for whatever reason, we ask that they elevate it to one of the cabinet members or through their association presidents. And so there's those different avenues for staff to bring up a concern that they feel needs to be addressed, that is a safety, in terms of safety. We have plenty of PPE available and has been distributed to the schools. We let them know that if they run out of masks, they run out of hand sanitizer, they run out of any of those things, that they need to just submit that through the regular work order system that we have, and that gets sent out immediately to them. I have not heard that there's a shortage of any of that. In fact, I've been at a couple of schools this last couple of weeks, and that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for in terms of what's available and how we're also monitoring the usage of masks and those kinds of things. And I can tell you that our students comply for the most part. They're getting used to wearing the mask. Sometimes it falls a little bit below their nose and we just say mask up. But the students are complying and they're following directions from that standpoint. I know that there's been concerns about just the ventilation, and I know that Jason and Gabriel have responded in regards to what we have, and that's one of the reasons why they put together that graphic that we sent out, just because there were so many questions about the proper ventilation and what we're doing to do so. I can tell you that we also have 2 HEPA filters at every campus as backups in the event that the HVAC system goes completely down in a classroom. That goes in there right away. I've instructed the principals that if that happens, they need to submit the work order and elevate that to Jason and myself, so that we can expedite somebody going to look at the HVAC system and get it back up and running as quickly as we can. So we do have 2 on reserve at every campus for that purpose as well. So I do believe that we have what is needed to the degree that we can keep everybody safe.
Any other questions?
Can you make sure that it's on this way, because otherwise it won't record.
Hello?
Oh, there you go.
I want to ask, I know the state has sent down guidelines. The school districts. So, at this point, every staff member being required to be vaccinated or not?
No, so the governor's order does not require that all school employees be vaccinated. I know that that's sort of how it was reported, but that's not actually what the order says. The order says that they must submit proof of vaccination. And if they cannot submit proof of vaccination, then they're required to test weekly and submit those tests to the district. So we are, and we have until October 15th to put that in place and comply with that order. So, you know, whenever something like this gets announced, there's always a layer of workload that gets added. And so Annette and Jason and I met with Company Nurse, which is the app that we do our daily screening. And they have the capacity for that to be done within the app. And so Annette is going to be working with them on ensuring that that our staff are able to enter that information onto Company Nurse, and then we can run reports out of Company Nurse. That will help us tremendously because it doesn't, then they won't have to come to HR to submit that. They won't have to submit it to the secretaries or the principals of the schools. And then, you know, because of HIPAA, all those things, it just creates a lot of layers of issues. And so by doing it this way, everybody's going to be able to do it on their own. If they don't feel comfortable, they obviously can come in and turn it directly to HR. But that's what we're working towards. And we will be in compliance by October 15th, for sure.
Thank you.
You know, the next phase is, you know, again, it's the workload, right? After October 15th, then we will have to monitor, HR will have to monitor all those that are still have not submitted proof, and ensuring that they're testing weekly and submitting their test results. So that's going to have to happen weekly for those that fall under that category. I don't know how many we will fall under that category at this point, but I'm sure there'll be some.
Any other questions? Do you have an approximate percentage of what our
We were at
self-reported
85, right, Annette, a couple of weeks ago. We have not updated that, so we will obviously get better information now because that was a self-declared, you know, they didn't need to submit proof. So after this, I'm sure we'll have a very definite number from that standpoint. But at that point, we were at 85%.
Thank you, Superintendent Cruz. We will now go to item 8.04, the technical revisions to the 21-22 LCAP, the 2019-2020 LCAP annual update, and the LCFF budget overview for parents.
So I'll add one thing and then so one of the things that obviously we submit our budget and we submit our LCAP to the county office, and the county office reviews it. In this case, they send it back with some revisions that they wanted us to make, some technical revisions that they wanted us to make so that they could go ahead and approve our LCAP. And as a result of the revisions, you know, we need to bring it back to the board for approval. Jason, did you want to address the budget items, or?
I just wanted to add that in the board agenda item, it outlines what the revisions were for each of the different documents, whether it be the LCAP itself or the budget overview for parents. All of that's laid out here within the agenda item. As you can see, one of the big things related to the budget piece was in LCAP, we put the ESSER use of funds, but in the actual adopted budget on the SACS forms, we didn't have that in there because the ESSER funds weren't certified at the time. So that was the one reconciliation related to the budget. So that's clearly outlined here for the board to read, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have in relation to that. But one thing I wanted to also add is that once this is approved, we will make this new revision updated and also on our website, our community members. Changes have been highlighted in yellow.
Thank you, Jason. Board members, do you have any questions on this item? Hearing none, I will accept a motion.
Move to approve the updates to the LCAP, the annual update, and the budget overview for parents.
Item 8.04 has been moved and seconded for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. We will now go to item 8.05, the approval of literacy action plan for McKinley Elementary School's participation in the early literacy support block grant.
Yes, so this is brought forward. This was a grant that McKinley received, and so we bring this forward for the board's approval. The plan, they worked on the plan last year, and the plan is attached to the board agenda, and this is what's being submitted with the expenditures.
Board members, do you have any questions on this item?
I just want to confirm, this is the grant from the CDE?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And just to clarify, this was a CDE grant that was made available to only certain schools, and McKinley was one of our schools that was eligible for the grant. So only McKinley could receive it for our district.
No questions, I will accept the motion.
Madam President, I move that we approve item 8.05.
Second.
Item 8.05 has been moved and seconded for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. We will now go to item 9, communications from the superintendent.
Yes, thank you. Again, just very proud of our district, and even though it's only been one weekend, it seems like it's been longer. It was a long week last week, but you know, I've had the opportunity to be at obviously Windmill at the beginning of the week, but now I'm joining the Williams team visits. So I was able to be at Meadows yesterday and at Santee today. And so want to support the visits and making sure that, you know, we are there in the event that the county has some questions or things that we need to resolve right away, so that there's no findings in regards to the sufficiency of materials. But also it gives me the opportunity to just walk classrooms and talk to students as they're counting books, because that's what the Williams visits is all about. It's like, how many books, how many students. So while they're doing that, I get the opportunity to talk to the students and just check to see how they're doing. And the first question I ask is, how excited are you to be back? And all of them are super excited to be back. You know, they're just, you know, smiles about, you know, them being back. And then it also gives me an opportunity to check in on the staff in terms of things that, you know, as you asked Board Member Rodriguez, in terms of, you know, are there things that they may need? So it's giving me that opportunity to be out of schools, and I'm really happy to see what's going on, to see the students, the staff, and see even just the facilities as you've seen on our tour. You know, the improvements and things like that. And then, you know, when there are things that need to be corrected, that, you know, we can correct those right away. So just again, very proud to be here in Franklin-McKinley with the whole community coming together with a single purpose of making sure that we can have our students in person and that we can do it in a safe way. So if you do hear of any concerns, please do send them my way so that we can address them right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Cruz. We will now go to item 10, communications from the Board of Education. Item 10.01, board member reports. We'll start with Board Member Martinez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say that I attended my first back to school night virtually as a parent at CCA. I was genuinely going into it like, what is the, like, you know, I've been to back to school night. How is this going to get pulled off? And I was very pleasantly surprised to see kind of how it happens in a virtual space. We were able to hear from the teachers, where parents were absolutely allowed to ask questions, important questions. And, you know, it's my first experience with Parent Square and Infinite Campus, and I felt that I got all the answers that I needed. I just wanted to say kudos to staff and to everyone who pulled that off. And I'll be attending my other child's back to school night on September 2nd and look forward to seeing how it's just done across the district. And I just wanted to say, you know, congratulations to Superintendent Cruz, his staff, and to everyone who helped pull off the first few weeks of school.
Thank you, Board Member Martinez. Vice President Tran?
The same sentiments in terms of reopening our school sites to our students. So huge thank you to the district staff, principals, teachers, custodians, supervisors, everyone so forth.
Thank you, Vice President Tran. Board Member Sanchez?
Couple of things. One, this past Thursday, I did a little workout. And harvest drive at Laurel School. 100 parents come. No. The day, but very worthwhile. I did take a COVID test on negative. I just want to be extra sure. I report, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Sanchez. Clerk Rodriguez?
No report.
Thank you. And I just wanted to share that I was able to stop by Sylvandale on their first day of school. And it was really great energy. The students were excited. They were trying to figure out their schedules and, you know, it was a little bit of, you know, controlled chaos, but just the level of excitement is always, I mean, especially after the amount of time that some of our students have been off campus, it was really exciting. And really, you know, relatively smooth, all things considering, you know, the figuring out company nurse and those who had their QR codes ready. And if they didn't, you know, there was still options for them to get the support they needed and really make sure everyone was checked in and had that level of support. So props and, you know, huge thank you to all of our staff and, you know, cabinet and our parents and guardians and students who, you know, were really patient with each other and supportive as we figure out this first week of school. It's been officially a little over a week, so and more for CCA. So thank you again. We'll go ahead and go to item 10.02, the agenda item requests. Board members, are there any additional items or revisions there?
In terms of the numbers, I know that's coming to us. One, when will we get an overview? Be more trying with.
Yeah, we normally bring to the board a report in September in regards to our enrollment. So we are looking at which of the two meetings we'll bring it. We're also in September. September is a heavy month with agenda items from resolutions to presentations in terms of our data. Even though we don't have CAS, we do have internal performance data. So I met with the staff, Ed Services staff yesterday to make sure that we balance out both agendas with the number of reports and resolutions that we have coming to the board.
Any other requests? We'll go ahead and go to item 11, future business, which we don't have any at this time. So we'll go to item 12, future meeting dates. 12.01, our next, our board retreat, it will take place on September 11th at 9 a.m. Right here at the District Service Center. 12.02, our next board meeting will take place September 14th at 8 p.m. And then we have 12.03, September 28th is the following board meeting. 12.04 is our October board meeting, October 26th at 8 p.m. We will not, item 13, we will not be returning to closed session at this time. So we will move to item 14, the adjournment.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn the meeting in memory of Rebecca Hazelman and her daughter.
Thank you. The motion has been made to adjourn the meeting in memory of Rebecca Hasselman and her daughter, Emma. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're now adjourned. Thank you.